In education, the big thing is personalization. How do we make sure that every child, every learner gets something that's tailored specifically to how they learn best and what their needs are? Well, now we're seeing that in technology as well. From advertising to applications, the way that technology is customized for you and me is changing the way we behave in our world. Before we get to that, some big news stories. Good to have you here on the Rundown. Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Good to see all of you. Good to see my regular panelists and at least one person who's been here before but came back to visit, which is always nice. But let me just start with my friend Tamara. How are you, Tamara?
I am great. It's a little hot on my coast. A little
hot.
Toasty.
Isn't the whole country? Are we? I mean, I'm in Florida,
but
so
we were in the
never know if
80s
it's
last
hot.
week, and now we're over 100. I don't like that.
Yeah. In Florida, see, because I'm in Florida, I don't even know if it gets hot anywhere else because it's just persistently, consistently hot.
Oh,
Awful.
see, we have good temperature here.
I know you do.
99% of the time.
I know you
and
do.
so I get very cranky when I get very.
Atlanta has some nice weather too sometimes, doesn't it, Tony?
Absolutely, it does.
How you doing, sir?
Atlanta is I'm great. Atlanta is we've got a brief
Go ahead, say it 3 times fast.
a breather from the hot weather. We have a little bit of wind, and it's fluctuating around the 70s. So that's amazing for us.
Oh, see, that's gorgeous. That's just beautiful. Now, Lois, you're not too far from Tamara, right? Or no, you're
at
in
the other end of California.
You're the other end. Okay, that's like basically Florida to California. It's the same distance.
No, it's like I don't know, Florida to New Jersey.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, it's wonderful here, and our average temperature for the month of September is 92. Average 92. And we're going to be a little warmer than usual this week. We were a little cooler than usual last week. Why are we doing the weather?
I have no idea, but that's why
Nothing
God,
to do
as
with
far as I'm
that.
concerned, that's why God created air conditioning. So when it gets hot,
just stay inside.
Exactly. Unless you live in the frozen tundra of Canada, like Dave Troutman. Hello, Dave.
Yes.
We missed you last week.
Yeah, I missed it too. I had a lot of things to say last week and never got to say them. So, you know how it is.
Well,
but I'm back, and we're doing our thing. And yeah, we have great weather actually this week. Well, for you guys it'd be about 75, 80. And so, we're keeping up with you guys.
It is,
But we're getting all the fires and you're getting all the smoke. So, it's just another export with
go.
a tax on it.
It is sort of funny how when you don't have anything scripted to talk about, we all sort of default to the weather.
Me too.
It's sort of
Yeah. Or
interesting.
how you doing, man? How you doing?
Hey, Sky, how you doing?
Well, the weather here, Bob, is doing
We're
fine.
getting the weather
We
report
have
from
66
everywhere
degrees here
the
in
country.
the beautiful Pacific Northwest. You can see the sun is shining and the green is everywhere because we had rain this morning and sun in the afternoon. But we are getting that a little gray over the top because
your
Dave
hair?
Troutman is sending us his smoke
Is that your hair that's going gray? Or
on
something else?
fire.
Oh.
That's Mr. Salt to you because the pepper's
sorry.
going away.
And look,
And as a
who
Methodist, we don't have the yarmulke, so sorry. I should
well,
get my.
you know what this does? This covers my bald
Presbyterian. Spot. I do recognize that need for the Presbyterians to catch up.
But
just saying.
The problem is not only does it cover my bald spot, it causes the bald spot, which means my bald spot keeps getting bigger, which means my yarmulkes have to keep getting. I'm going to.
Did you ever have a bobby pin to keep it on? Did you bobby pin
when
it
I
on?
had hair? I used bobby pin.
When? Once upon a time, we
I don't
all
have
had
enough hair for a bobby pin now. Now
see, wasn't that better than weather? I think weather or hair could be two of the best topics ever.
Now it's just gravity. Hey, look who's here! Look who's here! Hey, Paul, how are you?
Hey, I'm good, David, and I'm in Hot Springs, Arkansas. As you know, I bounce back and forth between the ATX, Austin, Texas, and Hot Springs. It's 90 degrees, precip 0, humidity 49%,
we're getting the full thing.
6 miles per hour.
Love it. Well, there you go. I mean, that's everything. That's absolutely everything. We have no time tonight because we have so much that we need to get. So yesterday, I was watching the news, and all of a sudden, a Mr. Tim Cook walked into the room with President Trump, and they had a big announcement to make that Apple is investing $600 billion in America. Now,
they found it in the couch.
They found the couch. That to me is not actually the interesting part of this story. The actual story, by the way, is that we already knew 500 million. They added another 100 billion, and they gave President Trump a nice little present. But the interesting part of this story to me is the tension between Tim Cook and President Trump around one specific issue, which is, can we build the iPhone here in America? And Tim Cook was, I think, as clear as he could be that there are absolutely components that we build here, but that the final product is not going to be built in America anytime soon. And Trump really, and I don't fault Trump for wanting this. I completely understand the impetus. He really wants that to happen. So they're going to be doing some of their glass, and they're building new factories, and they're building glass, and they're doing all this stuff. It's a huge 450,000 jobs with suppliers and partners, 79 U.S. factories. I don't know. It seems like a pretty darn big deal, unless I'm wrong. Unless this is not really, anything new, and we knew most of this. What do you all think?
Well, weren't they going to be investing anyway? I mean,
yeah, I tend to.
You've heard about that for a long time, haven't we?
Yes. So the again, the news here is they added another 100 billion, which I can't believe I'm brushing off $100 billion. But I mean, that's
out of 500 billion.
Right.
Yeah.
But again, the question to me is, what are the expectations? That's the question. What are the expectations with all of this investment? Because I think that the government is anticipating that at some point, iPhones will be made stateside. And I just don't think that's a reality.
Just not going to.
No. Remember back when when we talked about that guy named David McGee, I think his name was, I may be wrong on the name, but the book was Apple in China. And
I just
basically,
read it.
Apple's built factories, trained people, and has brought China to such an incredible leading edge that it's almost impossible to even come near what China can do for Apple. So this is going to be a tough uphill battle if Apple's going to try to make iPhones in the USA.
You asked what expectations there were. I think in order to answer that question, whose expectations? I think that the announcement and the way it was phrased makes it so that President Trump can say, look what I did.
Right.
I did all this good stuff. Here's 500 billion. Nothing about it. It was going to be here anyway. So I think the expectation on the part of Trump is that this is going to raise his approval ratings.
Right. I meant
think-
what are the expectations of Apple and of the manufacturing process? What are the expectations that our government has of Apple? I really think that those who don't, and let me just say, I don't pretend to even understand the manufacturing process, but those in positions of power claim that they do and claim that this is something that can be done. And Tim Cook just completely does not agree with that, I think.
It's going to take a village, David,
Yeah.
because
and
back
decades,
in the 90s,
I think.
Back in the 90s, I was with an outfit called Semitech, and we were like pulling together Motorola, IBM, AT&T, Intel, all the major companies came together, worked together. They all sent folks to Austin. We went from 0 employees to 700 in 1 month. It's going to take an industry-wide effort, not just Apple, but the whole industry needs to come together in a consortium again and do what we did back in the 90s for the next century. Otherwise we're toast if we don't put out a huge effort. Do you think that's right, David?
Well, yes, and I think we are seeing some of that. I mean, NVIDIA and Apple and what's the investment firm that's working with
Bain Capital?
Is that what it is? I don't know. But I mean, so there are some that are coming together. OpenAI is putting together a huge partnership with lots of different companies to, I think they said, what, $500 billion or something investment.
Yeah.
Wait,
If
what?
you read Apple in
This
China,
guy was going to talk about this.
Apple
and
in
he's just
China
sitting
is
there.
huge. Tamara hit it.
if you read Apple in China, the very first chapter of Apple in China really sets the stage for the spin and the misunderstanding that Apple originally had with dealing with Chinese relations. And when I saw this, I thought, this is exactly that. This is figuring out the spin to figure out how to go forward in our country. I don't think there's any chance that in the next, even before Trump's term is out, that there could ever be manufacturing of the complete iPhone in
Tamara,
America.
just to define spin for us, what is your termination? What is your definition of that, please?
It's trying to make sure that your business stays stays upright, really, by spinning or just changing the narrative.
Well, you and I are in the media, and it is what pays our bills is to help other people's stories get told. And so when your investors are taking their money out of your company, then your stocks, and this is where Troutman's going to come in and save me from my analytical, misunderstandings. But when you are working as a corporation with investors, having money in the bank is a good thing, right, Dave?
Mm-hmm.
And how do you reassure those investors? And over to Troutman.
Well, I was going to say that most of the investment in the last 3 or 4 years has been in, I'm not going to call it vaporware, but it's the prospect of AI becoming the thing. And how many hundreds of billions have been spent there on simply building and warehousing servers to do the job? I'm happy that Apple is attempting to sort of move into making real things, some parts, but real things. And that employs people. So if you want to make chips, you don't need a lot of people. You just need a lot of robots. And I think it's kind of interesting that he's added another 100 billion to the idea that Apple's more interested in making devices and things, and to heck with the rest of this vaporware that might or might not produce jobs or give prosperity and spread it around. Now, on the question of China, it is a bit of a spin, not just to American politicians, but to Chinese politicians, right. Because as we know, Apple invested heavily in getting them to a place where they could do this, and they can also take it away. So if they say they're going to start moving it to America, China will start to get worried. And I think in terms of international politics instead of, well, economic politics, you want to be friendly to Japan, but not friendly to China these days. And you want to protect South Korea from not doing all the things they do for Apple. So I think, this is an investment that is in America. That's the great part. And it's also an indicator and a bit of a spin to tell China we're paying attention, and we might not like the way you're treating us, so we might take our iPhones and go home.
But I think we also have to talk about India, because that was the other place that that Apple said, well, we can't have everything in one place, and they moved some of their operations and started investing in India. And this week, India has huge tariffs attached to them. So it is a good piece of business to make sure that your president is aligned with your.
Let me get Tony in. Go ahead, Tony.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that I think that there will not be a iPhone built in America. And the reason I say that is because I think that what Apple could do is create a transition device that can be built in America. But actually pulling the technicians that they have in China and in India, I think would be very difficult, because we don't have the technicians here in America that can produce the iPhone as of this moment. And so down the line, as we gear up for whatever the next product is that will supplant the iPhone, there is a possibility of the infrastructure to be in place so that that product could be built in America. But actually snatching the product away from India and from China, we don't have the technicians. Possibly there might be machines.
You're absolutely right. We don't have the technicians. We don't have the machinery. We don't have the infrastructure. And then we don't have the money. Even if we did, we don't have the money. Right. We're not going to pay 3 times as much for an iPhone. Sky, go ahead.
You just pinched my punchline. That was exactly what I was going to say. That we don't. We have come to expect a certain quality. I've spent $3,200 since 1984, every 3 years. So somehow some analyst has realized the pain threshold for a certain product, in this case a laptop, but originally it was the chimney iMac, so it was $3,200. So now they found the same pain threshold where the product is more valuable, more more usable, etc., staying up with the times, giving me the new whistles, the new bells. But we're rushing off $100 million of a $3.27 trillion company over 4 years. It's a lot of nickels. It's a lot of pennies. It's a lot of anything.
Yeah.
But Apple's the spin is pretty thick.
Yeah. Paul, go ahead.
Yeah, it's not like I was saying before, but we got to do what we did in the 90s. In the 90s, we all came together. We Intel, IBM, AT&T, and whatever the equivalent today of those companies in the 90s. It's got to be an industry-wide effort. In the 90s, what we did at Semitech is we had a wafer, that they cut chips out of wafers, and then we made it this big. That was what we did at Semitech. We need to do the same thing industry-wide, not just Apple. Apple's a company that doesn't get AI, that is a very proprietary operating system that is not a share. They're not known for interoperability. We need an a total industry thing. And, I sat in an office next to Bob Noyce, and he invented the semiconductor. And there were similar people from Motorola and all the other companies. They all came together, put their minds together. And that's the kind of effort we need, I think,
All right.
now at this juncture in the United States.
Two last words, Tony and Dave.
Well, I disagree with you, Paul, from this standpoint. I think that, as I said, a transition product might be the way to go. And if those companies were able to come together, I just don't see it. And I think I'm as optimistic as anybody, but I don't see it. And the reason that we are right now, and maybe this is inappropriate to say, but I think we're in a greed conscious society right now. And for all of those companies that came together in the 90s will not come together now unless something changes.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that's a sad state of affairs, isn't it?
Isn't it? Yeah, Dave, go ahead.
Yeah. Two items. One is counter to what Paul is saying. In the 90s is the height of offshoring work out of America to China. So you guys got to come together, but the rest of the investors and the major companies like Siemens and everybody else were moving their factories to the cheaper labor area. Secondly, America has stopped supporting small business. And small businesses were where the innovation was and where that training on the ground level was. People learn new things by starting businesses and getting things going, and engineers move into that and make it better. And those products that are going to replace the iPhone are not going to come from the megacorps. They're just not. Meta's been trying now for a long time to make something brand new, and they haven't got around to it yet. I think Apple may not come up with anything brand new for a long time yet, so they get to bide their time trying to invest in the development that we would all like to see. But they're not the only ones who can do it. So I think, in the sense that all the big banks want to talk to the big investors and all of the hedge funds, but they don't want to talk to people who actually have really good ideas for changing things. And there was an article about somebody who's just come up with a way of making metal with 3D printing, and the metal is 100 times lighter than steel and 10 times stronger than titanium. And if you made things out of it, you would save a whole lot of fuel moving anything, and you'd be able to make things that you never thought you could before.
Is that the article that I posted
twice as big
on the sheet before?
It is the article you posted.
Yeah, so
that's the article.
So this was originally in the rundown.
And that's a small thing that will turn into a major industry.
That was actually from January, and I couldn't believe that I missed it. That was an amazing story.
It is, yeah.
And that it was created, that this new
material
was created by AI. It wasn't created by, it was conceived.
No, but it was guided. Yeah. They put in their failures and said, "What would you do?" And it said, "Well, I would do it this way." And bingo, they got it.
Yeah,
it is.
Speaking of,
so that's what I wanted to emphasize is that small groups of people doing that kind of work that don't get the funding, and they're cutting off funding for research all across America today, and it's not going to move you forward. It's going to move you backwards.
Well,
agree.
On that, we definitely agree. Yeah, but speaking of moving forward and AI, hey, guess what came today? ChatGPT 5.0 is here. Now, this was rumored we had a pretty solid idea it was dropping today from earlier this week. It did in about an hour, and how long was the speech? About an hour and 20 minute, sort of keynote-ish type of address today. I did watch the entire thing. I didn't watch it. I listened to it on my way home. And it's pretty darn impressive. They made a big deal out of a couple of things. First of all, they spent a tremendous amount of time on coding, and they specifically talked about using ChatGPT 5.0 for vibe coding. And they actually then coded some things in real time. They created games in real time. In coding. They talked about healthcare. They brought out one of their employees and his wife who was diagnosed, I couldn't believe this, with 3 different types of cancer within the course of a week, and talked about how she was able to take information the doctors were giving her that she couldn't understand, put it into chat, and then have it help her and sort of empower her to be able to take more charge, or have more agency in her health journey. So they also talked a lot about front end, about how it has design sensibilities. They talked about how it's going to be much better at helping people write. So I'm thinking about you, Tamara and Sky. Right? They spent quite a bit of time thinking about how it's going to help people write better. There are some voice improvements, and I would say that other than all those improvements, the big takeaway is that now this is all you get. You don't choose from a whole bunch of models. It's by default, everyone's on ChatGPT. There's one other model that you can get, GPT-5 Thinking. Everything else is gone. You still have all of the functionality that you had before: deep research, agent mode, create an image, think longer. You can add Google Drive, things like that. But there's no more of this guessing. Do I want to try O3 or 4.0 mini or this or that or whatever? It's all just right here. And the last thing I'll say is that, although I don't think it's live yet, I've been looking for it and I can't find it, there's a lot of personalization coming. So you're going to be able to, little things like change colors. Let's see, where is, I saw this before, but I don't see it now. ChatGPT, maybe it's up here. No, I don't see it. But you're going to be able to change the colors of your chat. Here it is. Select a personality. You'll be able to select personalities. Short and witty.
This is Tamara's new best friend, I think, picking a personality there. That's what she is. Yeah.
It's been letting you pick personalities for a while.
Well, no, it had a few. No, you can choose voices.
But you could go you could go into the advanced settings and you could tell it how you wanted it to talk to you and what kind of vocabulary you wanted it to use, if you wanted it to be
so we'll have
snarky,
to see how this is different. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And I believe that I heard them say that this piece is coming next week. I haven't been able to see that yet.
I still can't find it. I have all the other ones.
Yeah, you may just need to do a hard refresh of that page. I'm not sure.
Probably.
But
how expensive is this?
So this is part of what's amazing, Lois, is that it's free. It's available for everyone. So let's just walk through this. So first of all, when GPT-5 launches, all of these models are retired. 4.0, 4.1, 4.5, O3, O3 Pro, O4. I mean, all of them are just gone. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know this. Voice mode is still powered by 4.0. That's interesting. Here are 4 distinct personalities, or use the default personality in your customized.
I want the mother-in-law personality.
The mother-in-law. See, I don't think voice is, no, that's still that. I don't think I have, no, I don't. I'm looking to see if I have that, the ability to do the.
Can we get a rabbi personality?
Yeah, that's what I want.
Something like
exactly. That. No, I don't have that here yet. Let's see.
Well, it could be this. It could be that. It could maybe. I don't know.
Wait a second. You know what?
You went there.
I do have this. I did see this, and I couldn't believe that this would actually be it. Cynic, robot, listener, and nerd. Robot does not mean that it's talking like a robot. It means precise, efficient, emotionless. Wait, I did see these. Personalization. Where is it? I know I saw these somewhere.
Yeah.
Here it is. What personality should ChatGPT have? So you have to go into personalization, custom instructions, then what personality should GPT have, and then you can choose it here. Cynical and sarcastic, efficient and blunt, thoughtful and supportive, exploratory and enthusiastic. cheerful and
But
adaptive.
right now you can put in, if you go into the, because I have the old one, if you go into, you click on your little name, you go to customize ChatGPT,
Right.
you can tell it what traits you want it to have, and you
Right.
can
Well, you
already,
can still do
you can,
that. Right. I have that here too. I want clear,
yeah.
concise answers, be kind but honest, need support and constructive criticism. I want to grow and get better. That's what I told it to do. Okay, so we'll have to play with the personality thing. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure what that will that'll do for us. But this seems to be a pretty big deal. I don't know. What do you all think? Any thoughts on GPT-5?
Well,
Go ahead.
I tried it out. I actually tried it out, and I told it, "Hey, I'm going on this show tonight. It's called, the rundown, and here's the people on it, and here's where you can find them." And then asked it to write a poem about the show. And I'll give you just a couple of examples. Bear with me, okay? Tamara Pika glints with AI dreams in her eye. Imagine GPT-5, brainy, free, and oh so spry. The rundown dives into text Y, shaping future underline. Tony Mobley floats in where deep talk and art collide. Hosting conversations with Tony, he brings soul to the digital tide. And Sky Gleason, wise, with a half smirk so sly, great tech, lovely R&D, but still, don't data dive in a lullaby. Anyway, it goes on and on. You may or may not feel those are appropriate, but anyway, that's what it generated.
So here is, I changed my custom color to purple. So this is one way that you can personalize. So my text is in a purple. This is not important, but there are little tiny tweaks here. Look, it just came out. We're all gonna have to play with it and see, if it actually feels different. There was actually a nice Mr. Who's the Boss, which is a tech reviewer on YouTube, already put out a 12-minute review of it, and he did direct comparisons between 4.0 and 5.0, and it was really interesting because some of it was much, much better. Other things like, for example, hallucinations, just making things up out of whole cloth, they talked about that during the keynote today, that it would be much better. He found that it was, in his short little testing, that they were about the same. It's still hallucinating. So we'll have to see. I'm excited to play with it, though. Any other am I the only one who's excited?
No, I'm excited. I do think that the colors, we can brush them off, but that is what's going to make it user-friendly. Like, what it looks like now is equivalent to what DOS looked like. So I think as it becomes more similar to it has a shiny background, it will be more user-friendly to average people.
If I had to rank all the AI models that are out there right now, my number one model is Gemini, and I think this model has moved up.
Oh no, Paul.
Disagree.
This model has moved up.
My brother and sister-in-law work on Gemini, so I'm not. I mean, I
like Gemini. I don't know why. I like Perplexity. I like Grok for doing money things, and I like Gemini because Gemini can see all my Google documents and Drive and stuff that I have.
So
that's why it's relevant.
Just so you know, OpenAI can also, if you click on the plus button on any chat, you can directly add from Google Drive. But if you go into agent mode, or is it deep research? If you go into deep research, you can connect Google Drive, and then it will end Google Calendar and GitHub and Gmail. And Gmail is actually new. Yep. That's a new one that they just added. You can turn all of these on, and it will search everything.
Notion.
Hey,
Teams.
Number one tip of the day. That's a great tip.
Yep.
Yeah, go ahead, Sky.
Well, I just feel like we're doing this story all over again. This is, the same. Oh, we've got a shiny new thing, but 99.8% of the population don't care because whatever they're told to use is what they're going to use. I believe the quote was from Steve Jobs. People are going to like what I tell them to. because he's going to tell them what they're going to like.
You're
right. And we did.
In this
so
case,
what I thought would be Tamara and I are actually going to be doing quite well, because we will get in there and manipulate and be the middle people, and this will be the backbone to the thing. But I also thought about the TRS-80. Does that ring a bell to anybody? It's the original Radio Shack. Oh, that company that has now long gone out of business, but it gave you the ability to do all the modifications yourself. But people don't want that. They just want a one button fix my
which
toaster.
Is exactly why the simplification of 5.0 is so important.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, and also the three 18 different versions, they can't support that.
Right.
So, well, and also the fact that 3 was the more advanced version to 4. I mean, it was so confusing that you really had to like know everything. And this just lets you, assumingly, it's taking the information and going, I'll use 3, or I'll use these tools that make sense for this prompt.
Yeah. Vic, what are you saying? The splash screen saying, hold on, Vic just brought up something kind of interesting. The splash screen saying introducing ChatGPT 5 is OpenAI's marketing shorthand for our latest improvements under the hood is ChatGPT 4.0. What? Wait a second here. What is he saying?
What's he saying?
I'm not sure.
Capture the splash screen of when you launch.
He's saying that the 5 is really 4. Is that what he's saying?
Well, it says that it's 4 for the audio, for the mic one.
Yeah, for the audio.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll let you, Vic. I'll let you throw something else in there if you want to help us understand that better. I'm excited. I'm going to play with it. I rely on this. Oh, that's what ChatGPT told me. Okay. He used ChatGPT to talk about itself.
Of course. And there we go.
I think
there we go.
One of the things that I've heard a few people say is that this is the dumbest AI we'll ever have, and that to me is really exciting because it's only going to get better. All right, moving on and moving up. One of the pieces of this that struck me was that personalization piece, the colors, the personalities, even having access to my calendar, having access to my email, or giving it access. It doesn't just have it. All of those things make this tool more appealing, I think, than any other tool. If I go into Paul, if I go into Gemini right now, even though I'm a Google hardcore user, it doesn't know as much about me as OpenAI does because of the way that I've been using OpenAI recently. And so that personalization, that knowing of me, is incredibly sticky. It makes me stay right here with OpenAI. And so tonight we wanted to talk a little bit about what that means, what it means when the whole world and all of our technology is customized and really hyper focused on us. And I want to start with, this isn't so much a technology question, it's more of a question about marketing in general. But I don't understand people who don't want targeted ads. Maybe someone can explain that to me. They would rather not give their personal information and get garbage ads than give their personal information, be able to use the service for free, and then get an ad that might actually be relevant.
So, David, that's sort of like going into Google and searching for something versus going into one of your AI things, putting in a question and only seeing what it thinks is relevant to you. So if I want to see a broader range of things than I have seen before, I am probably going to want to be broader. Whether or not it's knowing anything about me or not isn't the question. It's what am I being fed, and who is it that's deciding what I'm being fed?
So what you're talking about is discoverability, right? Am I looking to discover new things, or am I looking for it to feed me what I want?
So
what it knows
it's the difference. It's the difference between walking into a library, going to the card catalog, and saying, there's the book I want, versus going to the shelves where that book is housed and looking at the range of things near it. It's all the same topic, but different
Right.
books. And so if you are only getting a specific answer, then you aren't seeing or thinking about a broader range of things.
So where do you draw the line between personalization and invasive data collection? How do you, Sky?
Same thing.
How do you kind of manage that or balance that?
Well, I've been introduced to the concept of critical thinking. And again, in Madison Avenue does not want you to think, they just want you to respond because it's more efficient. They get your money, less challenge for them to get it. They provide a service. Is it at the quality you want? And this is where I think Lois is a free thinker. She doesn't want other people thinking for her. She's been brought up in an attitude of being responsible for fellow humans, and I think it's the lack of trust because of the bad elements of this conversation that abuse the systems. So it is a fine line, but I love systems. I love infrastructure. When I go to the light switch, I want the light to turn on. But do I want to go over and learn how to wire it? Do I want to learn how, where the power comes from? It's how much responsibility do I want to take for that opportunity to go flick that switch?
So I'm with you, Dave. I like targeted ads. If I'm going to be forced to sit through 2 minutes of something, I want it to be 2 minutes of something I'm interested in.
Right.
I will tell you where the one thing that happened on Facebook a while back, I don't even know if they do this anymore, but I was scanning through ads and an ad came up for Target. And it was fascinating because it took a picture of a friend of mine to sell that product to me, which I was like, wait a minute, let me look that up. And sure enough, if you go back in the settings, you can turn off your permissions for them to take your pictures that you have put up and put you into ads. And that's where I definitely draw the line. I do not want to be selling products to my friends. You may certainly market to me. You can do it without my friends. And so that was one of the times where I was like, this crosses the line for me, is you using what I have uploaded to sell things to people in my list.
Can I just play sort of devil's advocate, not really devil's advocate? So I don't know that I've seen that, but what I have seen is an ad that comes up, or a paid promotion comes up, and it says above it, your friend so-and-so follows them or
endorses this.
And,
yeah.
Right.
And that actually is helpful to me. Like I like.
I don't
Aren't there
disagree
rules
with
about
that.
endorsement? Didn't
knowing
Hollywood set this up where there are rules for endorsements? You have to have used the product or own the product or whatever before you can endorse it.
And my thing could have been a flash in the pan. They realized that was not a good idea. But that was where one of the incidents in the course of my online journey that I was like, absolutely not. I don't mind seeing, so-and-so works here, or, David follows this. Okay, I do find that to be helpful. I don't have any problems with that. But I do have a problem if you take my photos and use me to sell a product to my friend when I have not even followed you. I didn't do anything with you.
There is, in real life, not online, lots of situations where you visit someone and they've got this fantastic tea kettle. It's so neat. And you go, where did you buy that? And they tell you the manufacturer and everything. And because your friend enjoyed this thing and you liked it, you went out and bought one. That's normal. That's human. What I want, though, is when I get that tea kettle, I want to be able to look at other tea kettles and compare them myself. I don't want to have something ordered for me when I didn't choose it.
So, okay. So I think what you're what you're bringing up for me, Lois, is a question of bubbles, and
Bubbles?
bubbles, like what are they called? I'm blanking on the
Filter bubbles.
filter bubbles and echo chambers, right? Which you wrote in our doc. Please define that. So
Yeah.
I'm with you. So one of the things that personalization has done is it has created, it has put each of us in a bubble of the things that we like, right? So it knows what I like. And so it surrounds me with those things because it knows that I'm going to press buttons and it's shiny and it's exciting. And so it's created these sort of these echo chambers where my own voice, my own desires, my own wants and needs keep bouncing off the walls right back at me. All these advertising platforms and social media and websites and apps, they're all just bouncing the same things back to me. And I'm missing out perhaps on what you're describing, which is a broader perspective, a more holistic look at the world. It's not just with me though. It's with me and Tamara and Sky. So if we all are friends on Facebook or Instagram or wherever, and we share somewhere, we're going to be in our own little bubble. We've seen this in politics. We've seen it we've seen it in lots of different places. So there's a real struggle, I think, in that line there are a number of lines. There's the line of personalization and privacy, and then there's a line of personalization and discovery, which is, I think, Lois, is what you were talking about. Dave, go ahead.
So back in the 90s, they started giving out cards at grocery stores where you get a discount or you're a member now and you can get special deals. And there was one for Safeway, and America has some Safeway, and we have it up here. And there was a fellow in California who put on his internet page his card. And the number you can use, if you don't have the card, you just give this number. And he wanted to corrupt the database. So he managed to get 100,000 people to use his number. And he bought apparently enormous tonnage of groceries every week. And he was able to sort of make it so that they couldn't figure out who he was in the midst of all these things. Now, we all collaborated with him in this little venture, but it said to me that if you're going to have me tracked, if you're going to try and chase me around to show me things I might be interested in, I would like to get authentication that this is actually happening. And I haven't found that yet. I have a grocery card and it's tracking what I buy and it's making sure it's on the shelf when I get there. And that's supposed to be what it's for. But when it starts interfering with my regular life where I'm not doing shopping, then I have a problem with that. Now in customization, I would like to be able to arrange the buttons on my apps. I download an app. I'm not happy with where the button is, where my thumb wants to go, and I want the keyboard a little bigger. Maybe I should be able to customize my interface, and we're not getting that yet. The big promise was that with object-oriented programming, we'd be able to let the customer figure out what buttons they never want to push and leave them out, and put the buttons where they feel they wanted it and play the game that way. The other future that we're not getting is customized clothing.
Hold on a second. Are you Apple or Android?
What?
I'm all.
That's Dave.
Yeah, I know. Dave, are you Apple or Android?
Yeah, I'm Apple on the phone. Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, that explains why you don't feel like you have any customization. You don't have any on Apple. On Android, you can do whatever you want.
Oh, well, you can't move the buttons around in an app.
Of course. In an app. Sorry.
Right.
You're right. In Zoom, you can.
Yeah.
Yes, you can.
In Zoom, you
that
can
one
move
is
the buttons
very
around.
customized.
You're right.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right.
Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
Well, anyway, we were able to edit the Microsoft, strips at the top of Word and that sort of thing. But I'm talking about how the promise of the future is sort of failing us because of things like customized clothing was supposed to be made just for Dave. And it could be a pattern that's unique to Dave. It could be, my size and my shape and that sort of stuff. But small scale manufacturing needed to be involved. Large scale couldn't do it. They couldn't afford to make something just for Dave if they had to make 300,000 things every week. So small scale manufacturing wasn't encouraged to be able to do this at a local scale and be able to make clothes just for Dave. So we used to have tailors all over the place. We used to have shoemakers, and we used to have a lot of people who could do a lot of these things that we're talking about, fix the switch. And now we have to get big corporations to come and give us our selection, their selection of what is available, and they aggregate all this stuff for us, so we don't have to buy the car we want. We're going to buy the car that's available nearest us. So that's my problem with customization.
So, Dave, I don't think that we have to have small businesses in order to do the clothing thing, because there are so many people in the world that if you specify a height, a weight, your instep, whatever, there's probably a company that has made 50,000 of them just like that. And it's not special to Dave, though it fits Dave. I see a lot of ads on my game on my phone, and there's many now that are doing things customizing to you. Well, what it really is you are entering information in a form, and you are picking your height, your weight, your age, whatever, what are your goals, etc. And then it comes back and says, and you should walk 5,000 steps a day, or you should walk 7,000 steps a day. And it makes you feel as though this was done for you. It wasn't. It was just, with this pattern in the form, this is the response you give. And you can set up as many patterns as you want and have that thing give you the response that you think is customized to you.
Lois, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Getting that what felt like a personalized response, was that encouraging? Was it supportive? Was it?
Well, I didn't do it.
Okay.
Because I'm not going to give them my information just to get back something that says, are you going to have 5,000 steps or 7,000 steps?
I think that makes all the difference for some people.
I think it makes a difference.
I think
it does make a difference. But what is your trade-off? What are you getting? Yes, personalization, but what are you giving yourself?
But you can change your algorithm. I mean, I think, to speak to Dave's thing really quick, Amazon, not like yesterday, but recently, you can, if you're buying clothes on Amazon, you can now choose your model. So you can pick a model that is closest to your size, and it'll show you what the clothes look like on that model, which I think is is a step up for online shopping.
Wait, where is this? Hold on.
Because
I buy all my clothes.
Well, actually, they had Amazon had a mirror they were trying to get out that you stand in front of, and then you can choose things, and it'll put it on you in the mirror. And the trouble with that was that it had a camera to see you to put the clothes on, and people realized that camera was in my bedroom. So they didn't really like having the mirror in the bedroom. Now, if we have a dressing room or a walk-in closet or something else, it's a little more small and private.
Go to women's clothing, David.
Oh, yeah. No, my wife buys online all the time, and she loves the places that have different size models modeling the stuff because she's a strange shape herself.
Wait, how do I do this?
Go to women's clothing for sure.
Well, I don't need women's clothing. I want men's clothing.
Well, I don't know if you
that's
have
where
men's
it
clothing.
is.
Don't shop for men's clothing.
Okay, let's do some pants.
I think you have to choose the model before you get into that.
Oh, you think so?
Don't you?
Mine is at the bottom. So if you scroll to the bottom, you should be able to see, I don't know. I'll try to find one and send it to you.
Size chart.
Let me
Something
see.
else. Products related. I mean, it's a cool idea. I love the idea of being able to choose your I think I've definitely passed it at this point, but maybe I'm wrong.
Let me see if I can find one.
I think it'll scroll forever.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, these are cute. Maybe I'll get some of these. I don't know.
I'll just send you one.
All right.
I've noticed it
recently
recently on more and more things. No, it's okay.
No, there are some shops that are fashion shops, and they're putting people on camera for Zoom sort of promotions, and they make sure they have all different kinds of models who can show you how the fit works. And they also ask the models to talk about how it feels to wear it, which I think is really important, because that's the other layer that's missing in these kind of mediated experiences.
Well, again, it feels like we had this conversation at the beginning of the evening in regards how do you manufacture a thing to make it within a price point. And to Paul's point, the manufacturer has to have the trained uh, personnel, equipment, supply chain, and so all of these customizable experiences is yes, the cobbler can make a really amazing custom shoe, but it's going to be probably very expensive versus the factory that will crank out a size 10, which is never a size 10. It's never, it's, and even so, this is I love Lois's comment, the trade-offs in this conversation. There's, it's not, it's going to cost you something.
Always, yes.
Do any of you remember Mason Shoes? Now, Mason Shoes was a company out of Wisconsin back in the 70s. I was one of their distributors. They had anybody over in the world who wanted to could sell Mason Shoes. And what you did is you went to the person's house and you took an outline of their foot and you had the catalog and they chose what style they wanted. You sent all that information into the company. Now, the company didn't build a shoe from that footprint, but they found the shoe that that footprint would work with, and that's what they sent to your friend. We could still do the same thing. Wait.
There was a story. I'm looking it up. Yeah. I think it was this week. There were some airline CEOs that were they were in Congress, and so after I'm just reading that this is from truthout.org. After Delta Airlines faced public backlash for expanding its use of AI to set fares for passengers, the airline sent a letter to federal lawmakers on Friday denying that it uses personalized pricing. But many airlines led by Delta, the nation's largest, are working with AI consulting companies that boast of their hyper-personalized price setting. The new airfare price is part of the airline's industry's long-standing experience with big data-driven pricing strategies. So what is this? What does personalized pricing mean?
Well, it means surge pricing when the demand is up. That's easy. And also, how much the plane can carry in terms of weight.
No.
And so the price of your ticket may depend.
No. It's more than that. Personalized pricing. The contention or the argument, the pushback from federal
area
lawmakers.
Code. They want my area code, yeah.
Is that it's because it will know me. Yeah. It will know my job. It will know how much money I have. It will know my frequency of travel, and it will know my gender, my race, and that it will set prices for me based on that information. Hyper-personalization.
Once upon a time, I commuted weekly from Seattle to Burbank every morning, Monday morning, and then every Friday night I'd fly back. And yes, eventually I got mileage, I got bonuses, I got customized because they recognized volumetrically they were going to make money on me, a lot more money on me if they treated me very nicely, because there's lots of other options in Southwest and Delta and all the others. But Alaska treated me very well, and I spent a lot of money with them, and then they reciprocated.
The travel industry's been doing this for a while, though, right? So if you go on a Sunday night and you're like, okay, I'm gonna look for a flight to New York, and then it'll say, hey, the price is $200. And if you continue to use your browser to go back and look again and again, the price will go up. And so if you clear your cache or use a different browser and go in and look, then the price is totally different. So they've been doing this for a while.
But that's universal. It does that for everyone the same.
Right.
And that's what's different here is that if you do that and if I do that, you and I would get different prices based on whatever based on who we are. That's
How do you know that? How do you know that you two will get different prices?
That's the contention. That's the contention that the lawmakers are fighting with Delta about right now.
And Delta has denied that they do that.
Right, because they are using AI. Delta has this AI powered pricing scheme, and the idea is that AI is going to. They're using AI to make pricing hyper personalized to where you live. It doesn't even have to know about you. It can know where you live, and it can make a judgment call on how much you should pay for a fare based on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think Troutman talked about it a minute ago. There's a term that's been around long before AI that if the volume, I know I checked out of a Las Vegas hotel, got a phone call. It said, no, you need to stay an extra day. I went back up to the counter that I had just checked out of an extra day. And they said, oh, well, that'll be $300. It's like, but it was $180 that I gave you back. It says, yes, but we know how many rooms are on the strip and what the volume is. And we know that we can charge you $300, take it or leave it. So it's like, so what does that mean, David? What is that called? Dave Troutman.
Well, it's like aggregating, isn't it? It's they're able to, well, everybody now, of course, all the car repair places use the same database. So you know where the parts are, you know what they're costing today. And that's surge pricing. Yeah.
Surge pricing. Okay.
All right. So imagine it says, imagine if you're a family member. This is Senator Gallego. Imagine if you're a family member, your granddaughter has just been born, your grandson has just been born, and you start posting on Facebook. Delta is going to be able to use technology to actually skim that information. When you go and try and buy a Delta ticket, they know that you're going to actually want very much to go see that grandchild of yours, and they're going to actually raise the price. So it's not a market price, it's a pressure price, one that's designed around the pressure points that they think that you are willing to pay.
You must remember the guy who got a promotion from Target for vitamins, I think it was, and it was addressed to his daughter and discovered that she was pregnant.
I don't know that story.
So it's a certain kind of vitamin women are supposed to take these supplements when
prenatal vitamin.
Yeah. And Target had, of course, gotten an order for this because they knew his daughter was pregnant. They knew and offered this deal to him on a product they knew she was going to need. And the guy had to address his daughter and say, when were you going to tell me what was going on here? And so it is intrusive in some ways, because if they know that much about you, there's communication problems there.
And David, if you are an investor and you have stock in Delta and their profit goes up, does this make you happy? Or are you upset that they're being more efficient and cheating the system? Or are they? And so the struggle.
Right.
And I want to find out how people know this is happening. There's accusations, there's denials. Is there any scientific evidence?
Well, Delta has said, I mean, we know that they're using AI right now. They've said this. This is not a secret. They are using AI-based revenue management technologies on 3% of its domestic flights, and they're planning on expanding to 20% of their domestic network by the end of 2025. They're in a partnership with a company called Fetcher, Fetcherr, which is an AI pricing company, and I don't know anything about them.
But that's different than looking at your personal thing and going, I've got a grandkid coming, so you're going to double the rate of your fare.
Well, we don't really know what it means, and I think that's part of the concern, is that we don't know what it means. And you know, when we talk about AI and personalization, I think it's important to remember that as we don't really know the limits, the capacities of AI. We don't, because it's not a perfect tool, and because we don't fully have control over it, it can still make stuff up it can still get. I think. I don't know. It's. Look, again, I'm all for personalization. Take my data. I don't care. I would much rather have a website or an app or a something feed me something that's meaningful to me. Notwithstanding, I think Lois's very strong argument that what that does is it puts me in a bubble, which means that I miss out on lots of other opportunities. So that's a very strong point. But I'm all in on what Jeff Jarvis calls private parts, or
well, Dave,
public parts.
we'll tell you when you're wrong. We'll tell you when you're wrong.
I'm with
You got
David.
friends.
I like AI to know what I like. I like it to know that, what tech I like. And right
and we
now,
like that, Paul, but we like that until Delta starts using that and starts jacking up our rates.
Do you think that the personalization that you like is able to influence you into doing things, into shifting your view of the world, into voting for a particular person, into doing things that 10 years ago you might not have done? That's where I see the biggest problem.
That's a really,
I
really
think
good
that is a
question, Lois.
Yeah, and it was sold to the political parties as a way of saving money by not sending messages to people who aren't going to vote for you.
Because it knows what we believe or what we vote for.
Well, how we voted in the past and all that, and how we registered and all the rest. Yeah.
Yep. That's an excellent.
I don't understand this registration thing, but yeah. And I think, Lois, you're pointing out a thing where it's sold as one thing and it's used as another. And we get this with all our tools. We get this with all our software. We have ChatGPT and we have, Midjourney making pictures. And then you got a lot of guys on YouTube making semi-pornographic stuff out of, 3D images. And okay, you got a president who looks like, Rambo. It's really what people are going to decide to do with this stuff that makes it either helpful or hurtful. And I think, you sell it to Delta because they need to be able to, reduce costs and increase revenue to keep shareholders. What is the thing? Optimize the shareholder value. So
looks like
the
Rambo.
value of things. Yeah.
Rambo?
Yeah, they got Trump looking like Rambo. It was hilarious. But in the same sense, you can make it work really well for people who need it. And certainly with the handicapped population and with some other less fortunate populations, this could be very helpful, is being able to personalize things so that they know the person's blind and therefore they don't send them colorful pictures. They give them text and verbal. So we're able to do these things in tech more now than we used to. And if it can personalize to person's capabilities, like if AI could tell me that I'm starting to lose it, right? It knows how I normally talk. It's known that for 10 years or whatever. And then suddenly it notices Dave has trouble finding words, or he gets confused, or he never understands the question. And he starts not wearing a shirt and this sort of thing. And then it warns my wife that, clinically get Dave checked out because he's not behaving well. That would be very helpful.
That's a really interesting, I hadn't ever thought of that, actually.
That's customization in my mind. Yeah.
Right. The better that these tools get to know us, we talk about early detection for medical issues, but boy, big data.
I mean, your watch, these Apple Watches are watching you.
Right.
I mean, that's a nice name for the product. It's Apple watching
what's
you.
interesting about that is that it's not just, that isn't just because it knows me. It's because it knows me in the context of all the data that it has for all these other people.
Where you been, how long you stayed there. And it also, this is the funny part, because people think your phone is listening to you. But, and I may have said this before, I was in another city looking at my friend's new telescope, and the advertisers knew that our phones were in proximity and thought I was interested in telescopes and started sending me targeted ads for telescopes because my friend got one. So they're not listening. They're just putting all the they're aggregating together, and all these red flags pop up. Dave wants a telescope.
I think it really does speak to the fact that we do have to stay on top of things. So, for example, people put everything into ChatGPT, but you have to opt out of any of your chats being used as training models. So otherwise, people think, hey, I can tell ChatGPT all my deep, dark secrets. But if you don't
why?
opt out of that, then your deep, dark secrets are searchable.
Oh, then, God, this drives me crazy. Then don't tell your deep, dark secrets to ChatGPT, for God's sakes. I mean, like, come on. Are we
But what if it asks you?
Right.
What if it asks you for that information?
But what I'm saying,
this is where AI psychosis starts. It starts to be really friendly with you, and it starts to invite you to expose yourself more.
Maybe
but again,
because as clergy, I'm
you
always
are
aware
someone
of what
who
I say, but I just don't say stupid things to ChatGPT.
Because you know where God is, and that's fine. But see, people think God is in ChatGPT, and they're going crazy doing it.
And that's really where I've known about, we've been talking about filter bubbles for a long time. We called it the Google bubble for a long time. If you know that exists, then you can actively change it. My TikTok changes weekly to drastically things. I'm like, wow, I'm on that side of TikTok now. I don't even believe in anything to say. How long do I want to stay here? Right? So you're someone who is like, I know I'm willingly giving away information. It's an exchange that I have agreed to. You've made that agreement, and the things that you don't agree to, you go in the settings and you just, opt out. The problem is that the average person does not understand how it works. They're not going to understand how it works. And we are seeing a fracture in our society based on the fact that people don't have accurate information in a promise that we are going to be more global and more connected. And that's where the real issue is.
And my anxiety is my brother in Kansas was complaining to me because he watched a political commercial and he says, did you hear what this person did and what that person did? And this is during the political season when I was making those commercials for both sides of the argument, because I was the video editor and I was getting paid to drive the machine. And one side would come in, talk about Bob. Next side would come in, Bob's horrible. The other side was, Bob's amazing. And then I would hear my brother middle of the United States go, Bob's horrible. Have you seen Bob? And it's like, oh my gosh, people listen to the advertisements and they believe what they're being told. And this is my anxiety in this conversation, is to Tamara's point, the general populace that isn't in media, that isn't in this conversation, that doesn't have these dialogues, because for a bunch of reasons.
We do too. Things look real.
It takes a special kind of ignorance to know that you can say, hey, G, or hey, S, or hey, A, Alexa, and that it will respond, and to not then be able to conclude the devices are listening. I mean, that takes a special kind of ignorance. So I'm sorry that
it's not about the ignorance.
It's not about listening. I don't think it's an ignorance problem.
It's really not about the ignorance. It's about where people are in their heads. And by that, I mean the struggles that you and I, people in this conversation, are not going to be, as already said, the people who are exposing themselves to AI. And for the most part, those people are in crisis, whether it's a lack of faith or it's a lack of support, social structure. People are in pain. And so when they share things with AI, they're sharing it because they see it as an outlet for their frustration. And because they are doing that, they're really not concerned with the consequences of it. What they're trying to do is, we're in this immediate gratification world. And so that is what they're about. They don't care about down the line that this could be used against them in terms of employment. They don't care. What they want to do is have their situation resolved. And so I can share what I need to share with AI and not have to pay $500 to sit with a therapist. And the AI is going to give me the answer that I want. And so it may not be the best answer for their health, their mental health, but it's going to give them an answer. And so we are supposing that they are concerned about what will happen down the line or the immediate future, but they're not. They want a resolution to the particular issue that they're dealing with at that time. And whatever happens down the line, so what? I need this fix. You know, almost like a drug fix. I need this fix. I need it now.
And I think that people make assumptions. Like, look, you assume that Alexa is listening to you, and of course, because it can't respond to you if it does not have a microphone, does not have a way to listen to you, and so you're opting into that. What you're not opting into is 3 years down the line, when they use that technology in a new way that was not part of what you thought you were opting into, and then that's what's happening. And we know, because we're tech people, that, hey, if you want to play in that world, you are giving up almost everything. Like, you just are, and you're making a choice to do that. But that's the question that's always on the table, because they can start doing that, and all they have to do is say, well, we have an opt-out button. We just didn't tell you about it.
Yeah.
And then until a lawsuit happens where they go, hey, we changed our terms of service, you might want to read them, which of course people don't.
Yeah. Sky, go ahead.
Well, just behind this greenway here is a freeway, and they needed to expand it because they put a light rail right down the middle of it. So they took out I don't want the exact numbers. Let's say they took out 20,000 trees, big, tall, 50-year-old, beautiful evergreen trees. Now they said, don't worry, we are contracted to put in 150,000 trees to replace them. Well, yeah, I will never see those trees 30 to 40 feet tall. Contractually, again, we're in the state of Washington, so there are people that care about things that are green and the environment. So that's the price we paid for transit system was, it's a lot easier to bulldoze a tree down and put a freeway in or a light rail system in than try to go in between all the trees. So there was the trade-off.
So I would like to shift us just a touch. We've been talking about
This is going to have to be the shortest shift ever, because we're
shortest shift.
Okay.
We've been talking about how technology customizes things for us. And I want to say we are human beings. We customize our interactions with other people and with technology according to how we want to be perceived, how we want to be presented. Tamara does this all the time. She changes her what she's going to see by what she looks at. So it goes both ways. We are also personalizing our interactions with you.
You're personalizing what do you mean?
I mean, I talk to David differently than I talk to Sky. I talk to my friend next door differently than I talk to the pastor.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, David, one quick question. Did we even broach or talk about the agentic capabilities of this?
No.
Maybe next time.
We have to do that. Yeah, we have to do that. With every topic we've had, there are 7 more shows in this one topic, which we'll definitely come back to. For now, I want to thank each and every one of you for being here. I learned so much from all of you every week, genuinely, and I'm really, really grateful. And I'm grateful to all of you for joining us. We had a whole bunch of people watching us today. To Vic, who is active in the chat. Thank you, Vic. And Andy is here. And Vetsen was watching. I'm just scrolling through all the names here.
Roland. I see Roland.
Roland was here. Yeah, I saw Roland. Hershey. Good to see all of you. Thank you for watching.
Hershey.
Come back every Thursday. If you have a topic you'd like us to discuss, let me know. Throw it in the Discord or hit me up an email or anything. Carrier pigeon. It all works. Have a glorious weekend, everyone. And we'll see you next time on the